Hey everyone, welcome back to Ricksaw. Today we are saying goodbye to the very first workbench that I've ever had on this channel. A few years ago when I started this channel, I entered a competition with Drew Witt at Whitworks and Shop Nation, who were doing Shop Greatness Challenge. That workshop challenge allowed me to build my dream workbench at the time. And that workbench consisted of 3 modules, 2 end pieces that I joined together, and a center section that held my miter saw. It was 32 by 32 modules, 32 inch by 32 inch modules that joined together with bolts. And I am going to show you that workbench today. And the reason that we're saying goodbye to that workbench is a few days ago, I posted that workbench on Facebook Marketplace for sale and I sold it. I've used that workbench for many years and it's been a ton of YouTube videos here on Ricksaw. And it is time to move on because my use case has changed and my channel is also changing. So stick around, we are going to be building a new workbench in some upcoming videos. It's going to be a very similar design with some modularity and it's built for transport. But before we get into those videos, let me go ahead and show you what this current workbench that's going to a new home is all about. All right, so this workbench is built using 2 modules. 32 inch by 32 inch, and they're torsion box style. It was built on concepts from Ron Paulk. Okay, if you haven't checked out Ron's channel, go ahead and do that. I will leave a link in the description below. Now, I was able to pick up those plans for the Paulk Ultimate Workbench and all of those workbenches. And what I've done is I've used those plans, but I made some modification to make it useful for my situation. I didn't really want a long, heavy workbench. I wanted something light, something mobile, something I could throw in a vehicle, whether that be a sedan, a truck, what have you. And I was able to accomplish that with this workbench, okay? It's built in multiple different modules and it can be extended and extended. Now, this workbench, I've also built these sawhorses, but you don't necessarily need to build the sawhorses. You can use some sawhorses that you have just lying around. And so what I'll do coming up here is I will take you on the journey for that workbench and how I set it up, how I tear it down, and a few other things like that, okay? And I've done a few other videos on this channel. I'll also leave links to those below. But on the next journey where we build a new workbench, I'll take you step by step through the process and you can join me along the way. All right, so let's get into what this old workbench is all about. And as we're making this video, we can say goodbye together to the workbench that really started it all. All right, let's get into it. All right, so here I have all of the workbench components over here on my left. Also, 2 bolts that connect it together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this workbench set up for you so you can see effectively how it functions. All right, first thing I'm going to do is just move these out of the way. Set up the sawhorses. Okay, so these are 1/2 inch plywood sawhorses with hinges, 4 hinges, 2 on each. I've just sort of grinded off the screws, made it all out of the scraps from the workbench, okay? To set up the actual workbench, there are dowels that register into the grooves that, into the holes that the workbench needs to register in. And then 2 holes in the center. This is where the bolts will go through to be able to clamp everything down so that it doesn't move. All right, so let's go ahead and get this assembled. Okay. All right, now I'll bring it in a little closer here. The next step is to take the bolts and thread them through the holes in the center so that everything aligns. Okay. So I'm going to take my bolt, take my washer, run it through. All right, take my next bolt, run that through, washer, nuts. All right, and these can be clamped down tighter to keep it from moving. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the workbench, set it on its sawhorses, and there you have it. Lightweight, modular workbench, fits in many vehicles, carries around really nice, has sawhorses connected to it. Now this is going to go to a good home, and the next user is really going to love it and enjoy it. And then that gives me the opportunity to share with you a new build for a new workbench. Okay, similar modular design, but I'm going to strive for lighter, easier to assemble, and a better support structure on the bottom. Okay. All right, well, thank you all for watching today's video. Hope you like it, and I'll see you next time on Ricksaw.